You're watching Study with Sudhir. I'm S Sudhir. What have been the big takeaways from the ICSE Class 10 and ISC Class 12 results that were announced on Friday? Many of you have done exceedingly well. There have been a few sad stories as well. And the takeaways that I have, 10 in all, concerns not just the students of the 2020 batch. I believe there are important learnings for the 2021 batch. So my request to all my young friends in the 2020 batch is, please share this video with your juniors, spread the word so that they can learn from what you guys have experienced. And also to the officials at the ICSE Council, I request you to please lend me your ear. The first takeaway for me concerns both those who did very well in these exams and those who did not. As actor Anupam Kher says, failure is an event, it's never a person. Similarly, according to me, success is an event, it's not a person. Both are equally temporary. Those who did well now in these examinations will have to continue to put in the same amount of work and effort in order to taste success ahead in their life. And those who did not do so well now can always work hard to change the page, right? That, according to me, is an important takeaway. The second takeaway concerns the students of ICSE Class 10 and specifically talking about the English language examination, which was your first examination on the 27th of February. Now, the marks in this paper have been the least for most students, right? Very few have scored above 90 in this paper and a majority of them are in the 80s and the 70s. Why did this happen? Now, it's easy to say that the marking has been very strict this year in 2020, but let me tell you, this is not the first time it's happening. Even in 2019, most students lost marks in the English language paper and ended up in that paper in the 80s. That's because the way I look at it is that most students tend to take English language not so seriously. See, there is a science to the grammar. There is a science to English grammar, and you need to remember that. There are rules to language and grammar, just like there are formulae in physics or in chemistry. And ICSE in particular pays special and more attention to the standard of English. That's the way the council is structured. So, you always need to listen to good quality English. Not grammatically wrong or terribly incorrect English. And it could be on TV news channels, it could be on documentaries, or it could even be on YouTube. Do not listen to stuff that is actually going to corrupt your understanding of English. That's very important, provided you do want to speak good quality English. Very important. Also, practice writing. That's very important, and speaking in the English language. Just like if tomorrow if I want to say learn Marathi, it's very important for me to listen to good quality Marathi speakers. It's not enough for me to listen to someone speaking gibberish Marathi and think that's the way Marathi should be spoken, and I will end up speaking that kind of Marathi. Influence is it plays a major role. So do not get influenced by bad quality language, be it any language. And here, since we are speaking about English, ensure that you are listening only to a certain level of quality. I have said this many times before, I'll repeat it again today. Now, the mistakes many students make, and I've again said this many times, is to get into the habit of learning English literature lessons or any language, any subject for that matter, in a different language. It could be Hindi, it could be Bengali, it could be Tamil or Telugu. While it may be okay in the case of literature to an extent, what it does subconsciously is to kind of affect your ability to think in English and articulate in English. It may not affect your marks in the English literature or in the history, civics or the geography examination, but it will affect your ability to write a good composition, for instance. It will affect your ability to write grammatically correct email and letters in the English language examination, because that's how you end up making those grammatical mistakes in English language. And when you make a grammatical error or a spelling mistake in English language paper, you are penalized in ICSE. They may overlook it in the literature examination or in any other subject, but not in the English language paper. Because mentally what you are doing is translating it from Hindi to English, or from Tamil to English, or from Kannada to English. Okay, you may not realize it, but that's what is happening inside your mind. Now, most students, from what I've learned, have lost marks in composition, making mistakes that we had specifically cautioned against. In an argumentative essay, do not argue both for and against. If you are arguing for, stick to for, do not put in 2 extra points of against also. Similarly, not following the right format in email and notice writing, in an informal essay going completely off tangent, those are some of the mistakes that have been committed. So the learning from this experience of the 2020 batch, and even the 2019 batch, should be that English can make or mar your overall percentage. So please focus on English language and literature in order to boost your average at the end of the year in the board examinations. Now, more than what you have scored, what is important into my mind is the journey that you have traveled, especially in the last 3 to 4 months, November, December onwards, towards the board examinations and during the board examinations. For me, the real winners are not those who scored say 93 in the half yearly or in the pre-boards, and in the final examinations managed to score 95, 96, right? They are achievers, no doubt, but for me, they are not the real winners. The real winners in my view are those who scored something like 55, 58, 60 in the pre-board examinations and now ended up scoring 80 to 85%. That, according to me, is the real learning. That, according to me, is the real spike in their curve. And my message box, Instagram, email is full of comments and messages from such great achievers, real winners. And the fact that all of you did this for yourself is a great achievement, because it shows what you are really capable of, right? I just want to say one thing today, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, and I really mean it. I'm incredibly proud of all of you. Incredibly proud, really very proud, especially those who made this jump, this leap of faith, that they believed that they could do it and actually managed to do it. For me, their 45 to a 78 or an 80 journey, according to me, is the hallmark of a winner. And it gives me great pleasure when many of them have actually written to me saying that they gained from all the study material that we put on Study with Sudhir, all the motivational videos that I would put under the title of How is the Josh here on Study with Sudhir. Okay, so very, very happy, and I'm delighted at your success. Always remember this, and I said this in a video before the examinations also. In order to motivate yourself, the voice has to come from inside you. No one can talk to you better than yourself. So, when you are in class 11, 12 or in college, remember what you did in class 10. Remember the journey that you traveled in class 10, and use that experience to motivate yourself, to inspire yourself when you are faced with another challenge, okay? Fourth point, many of you were pinning your hopes on a moderation policy, quote unquote, that would apparently increase everyone's marks magically, right? Did any of you students ever try to find out whether such a moderation policy even exists as far as the ICSE is concerned? A simple Google search would have given you the answer. And I'm not going to tell you the answer. You can do the Google search yourself. At least the 2021 batch students should be more aware about this. That's all I would say. Another myth that was widely propagated was that very liberal and lenient marking has happened for ICSE students. Great news, liberal and lenient marking. That all of you will get lots and lots of marks. Of course, the pass percentage is well over 99%. So in that sense, yes, the success rate has been pretty good. But many of you are very unhappy with the marks in certain subjects. You know, when one is waiting for the results, that's precisely what students want to hear. That everyone will get very good marks because the marking will be very liberal, very lenient. Okay. And that is what is taken advantage of. unfortunately. Brainwashing and misleading 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old students has unfortunately become a cottage industry of sorts. If lenient marking was really done, then why have so many students fared so poorly in the English language or mathematics, commerce, even physics? I mean, someone needs to answer that, right? I repeat what I had said some months ago, and this was not a popular opinion, and I was trolled for it, that in ICSE you will be marked on the basis of your keywords, whether you like it or not. That is the formula, that's a system that is followed as far as ICSE is concerned. You may have written a longish answer, but if it did not contain the keywords, you will unfortunately not get the marks. If your answer similarly is wrong, lenient marking does not mean that you will get marks for a wrong answer. Sorry, it does not work that way. Okay. Yes, as I said before, in an English literature or a social studies papers, history, civics, or of course geography did not happen. Spelling mistakes or grammatical mistakes could be overlooked, but that will never happen in the case of an English language paper. So please be aware, do not trust anyone blindly, including Study with Sudhir. Because the same myths I find are unfortunately being propagated ahead of the CBSE results. The same myths of liberal and lenient marking and grace marks. At Study with Sudhir, our only mantra is to speak the truth and to focus only on facts. Full stop, nothing else. Now, this is specifically for the ICSE Council. There seems to be some discrepancies with the marks too. I mean, it's not as though the marking methodology has been absolutely perfect. A couple of parents and students also sent me messages to this effect, and the council needs to address this. Now, on the CISCE website, the marks out of 80 are displayed. This is what a couple of parents told me, that when they log in according to their unique ID and index number. So for example, if someone has secured say 95 and 100 in say English literature, it would be displayed as 75, which means 20 marks the student has secured for the project work, the 20 marks. Okay, that's fine. But if I have to take a specific example of what a parent wrote to me, now this particular student has secured a particular score in mathematics. Okay. On the website, apparently, only that mark is quoted, not taking the project marks into account at all. And same is the case with respect to his second language paper. Why is that so? Because if the project marks had been taken into account, the marks should not be in the 70s, which the student has got. It should be in the 50s, assuming that he has got a 20 on 20 in the project work. So there are these discrepancies which are extremely distressing and disturbing, and the council needs to address. Another student had written to me over email yesterday about wide variation in her Hindi, geography and biology paper results. All these papers, you would recall, did not take place at all. Whereas according to the averaging formula that they employed, all these three subjects should have more or less the same marks. The only difference would be on the basis of what their internal project marks are, right? Now, in her case, her Hindi teacher has told her that she gave her a 20 on 20. So, why is the Hindi mark? There is a difference of 5 to 6 marks between her Hindi marks and her biology and geography marks. Though all three of them are in the 90s, but still the difference of 5 to 6 marks, you cannot explain that, right? So, the council really needs to be proactive in addressing these kind of issues, because otherwise the students will all apply for rechecking and simply waste their 1000 rupees. Now, my attention was also drawn to some comments not on Study with Sudhir but elsewhere about some students claiming that they are toppers but they scored much less, while some average types ended up scoring much more. My only request to students would be, please do not label anyone, because how do you know that the so-called average student did not really put in a whole lot of effort in the last 2-3 months and actually managed to up their score? I just gave you some examples before that students have managed to convert a 55 to an 80, a 65 into a 90, right? Because if past track record is what always counted, Clive Lloyd's West Indies would have won the 1983 Prudential World Cup on 25th of June 1983, not Kapil Dev's Indians, right? Okay. Now, the confusion over rechecking. What is rechecking? Is it mere checking of the addition of marks, or will the papers be checked by a new examiner all over again? There is again no clarity on that, because if the council is charging 1000 rupees per paper for ICSE and 1000 rupees per subject for ISC, the expectation is that it should be checked all over again by a new evaluator. Because if I would want to make a comparison with what is happening in the case of the Telangana Intermediate Board, that is 11th and 12th class. Here 100 rupees are charged if a student only wants to recheck the addition of marks, or what we call retotaling, okay, and 600 rupees if he or she wants to get it rechecked by an examiner. And in the case of Telangana, the board also provides you with a soft copy of your answer sheet. So the question is, why can't the ICSE council be transparent like the Telangana Intermediate Board? It needs to. If you're charging 1000 rupees, you jolly well provide the soft copy of the answer sheet as well. Now, the last 2 points, the 2021 batch, irrespective of whether you are in class 10, 9, 11 or 12, my advice to you would be to focus on your school internal examinations, and I'll tell you the reason why I'm saying this. Because this year we still are not out of the COVID pandemic. We do not know how the rest of the academic year is really going to pan out. We do not know whether everything will be okay by the month of February, March. We do not know whether the board exams will take place on schedule, or just like the googly that the ICSE council threw briefly, that your pre-board marks could be taken into consideration. What if, and it's a very hypothetical situation, what if the board decides that we are still not out of the woods completely in the month of March, God forbid, we will take into account your pre-board marks, your half-yearly exam marks and your quarterly exam marks. At that stage in February, do not react by saying that no, but we were preparing only for the boards. So I just want you to be safe than sorry. Please focus on all your school examinations, school internal examinations throughout the year, and not be focused only on doing well in the board examinations. That is my limited point. Final point. Now, something that happened yesterday and day before yesterday, and this both amused me, also distressed me a bit, because when I posted the 3 interviews with 3 students, Arya, Rohan and Dhanishka, from 3 different cities, Mumbai, Patna, Bengaluru. All 3 of them had scored above 99. The common link to all 3 of them was that they had all used Study with Sudhir material, right? Which is why the title, the SWS Toppers. Close to about 90 to 100 subscribers immediately unsubscribed. Now, I have no issues with that. India is a free country, as I always say. But some of the comments that followed were a bit of an eye-opener, saying that we should not be interviewing these so-called toppers. To all those people, my limited point is that envy is a very lowest common denominator emotion. I would much rather prefer, and I say this always, we need to learn to applaud and appreciate others. The idea behind posting these 3 interviews was only to inspire and motivate the next batch of students. And if they took even one tip from any of these students and used that while they were studying and preparing for their 2021 examination, I believe the purpose would really be served, right? Because all of us in life essentially need role models. To dismiss these students as products of a rote learning system, I think is being very, very disrespectful. And I'm sure no parent would like to hear their child being spoken of in this manner, right? Whether they got a 94 or a 92 or a 97%, right? That's all I would like to say. These are my takeaways. Please let me know if you found any other important takeaways which I have not managed to cover in this particular video. I would love to hear from you. And now I think we'll put the 2020 batch behind us, and we are going to get started with all the study material for the 2021 batch for class 9, 10, 11 and 12, both ICSE as well as CBSE. So look forward to seeing you in a classroom, in a proper classroom very soon. Thank you very much for watching. God bless you.